What's going on, everybody? Okay, first of all, let me start off by saying the views and thoughts, my views and thoughts are not necessarily represented or shared by the Walt Disney Company. All right, just gotta get that out of the way. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about, what's been going on in America right now. Um, I haven't said anything on YouTube. I've been very vocal on my personal uh, Instagram and Twitter. I don't really promote those though. So I haven't said a lot on my YouTube social media. I posted a couple things, but basically that's what I want to do right now. I want to talk to you guys about what I think about what is going on. So this is going to be a long video. Hopefully you guys are ready for this because I'm about to tell you a bunch of my thoughts. So this stuff, particularly talking about racism, police brutality, white supremacy, this has been going on in America from the very beginning, right? Europeans came to America and they basically killed a lot of Native Americans. They killed them. They stole their land. They stole Africans, brought them to America, and forced them to build America for free. Black people from Africa built America for free. So that just causes the 1619, so 400 years is when the first slave ships arrived from Africa to America. Fast forward, there's another slavery doesn't end till 1860 something. And then after that, we have Jim Crow, segregation, separate but equal. And now we are here where we are fighting things like mass incarceration, systemic racism, police brutality. So people say that racism is over. No, it's not. Racism is not over. It's definitely gotten better, but there's nowhere near to being eradicated. Racism is still very strong in our country today, in the world. But we're talking about America right now. So we're talking about America. Racism, very strong, still prevalent today. There is Confederate statues, Confederate memorials all around America that represent slavery, white supremacy, trying to hold black people down. So that's that. Now let's talk about a little bit of police brutality. Black people and many other people have been screaming about police brutality for years. It's not a new thing. The only new thing about it is that there's video cameras on our cell phones that can broadcast police brutality to the entire world. There's nothing new about police brutality. In 1992, Rodney King was almost beaten to death by 5 officers. And yeah, they almost beat him to death. The only reason why that case got publicity is because a neighbor filmed the video. And that was really the first time America had witnessed police brutality against black people. The thing that black people had been screaming about for years and years and years and years. And now when we can publish these things on social media to millions of people, now is the time when people are starting to finally realize. I was in high school, I think I was a sophomore, either a sophomore or a junior, when the Trayvon Martin thing happened. And I remember that this is kind of, we don't learn about these things in school. In our schools, we don't learn about, we get a few weeks in February where we learn about Black history. And Really, Trayvon Martin, that case sparked a whole movement in America called the Black Lives Matter movement. And a lot of people had a lot of issues with the Black Lives Matter movement, with the saying Black Lives Matter. Now, when people say Black Lives Matter, nobody is talking, nobody is saying only Black Lives Matter. Nobody said that. Nobody is trying to say only Black Lives Matter, nobody else's lives matter. That's never been the uh, statements that this movement has been trying to make. No one has ever said that. What they are trying to say is Black Lives Matter too. There's an implied two at the end, TOO also. We're saying Black Lives Matter also. And when people respond to Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter, with the statement All Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter, those statements are racist, they're ignorant, and they are a protest to a protest. How do you protest a protest? Well, that's what All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter is. It's a protest to a protest. By saying all lives matter, that is kind of eradicating the whole premise of what black people and other people are trying to say. We are trying to say that black people are 3 times more likely to be killed by police than any other race. And they're 3 times more likely to be killed than whites in America by the police. 3 times more likely. A lot of people will like to say that's actually not true. Whites are the most killed by the police. That is true. When you look at the numbers, white people are killed the most by police. White people also make up 65% of the population in America. Black people make up 12%. So if you have taken any statistics class in high school, college, then you know that you can't just do absolute values. You have to do relative values. That means that you have to break it down by proportion. So when you break the numbers down by proportion, yeah, black people are killed 3 times more. Black people are 3 times more likely to be killed by the police than white people. That is why people are saying Black Lives Matter. Police are pretty much there's a lot of good police officers and there's a lot of bad police officers. So the goal of Black Lives Matter is to gain equality, to show people that black people's lives matter too, that it is not okay for police officers to be hunting black people down and killing them for sport. So that's my thought on Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. A lot of people don't understand it. I don't, they might be saying it from a racist standpoint, or they might be saying it from an ignorant standpoint. My goal is to educate people on what this phrase means, all lives matter. So say you are at a breast cancer awareness rally. Say it's October, breast cancer awareness month. Everybody's wearing pink. How would you feel if somebody said, yeah, breast cancer, it matters, but all cancers actually matter? That's exactly what all lives matter people are saying. They are saying that, yeah, black people matter too, but all lives matter. That's not what we're trying to portray here. All lives aren't being hunted down by police. Black people are being hunted down at an extremely higher rate than white people are by the police. I put a poll up on my personal Instagram that I don't promote, that I wanted to get people, if people said all lives matter, I wanted to kind of educate them and tell them why all lives matter is ignorant and a racist statement. And some people did say all lives matter, and I had the opportunity to actually change some people's minds and viewpoints. So I actually was going to just, because this whole situation has made me very, very angry. And it's very tempting to just go on social media and block everybody that doesn't share the same viewpoints as you. But that doesn't really solve anything, because those people are still going to go out into their daily lives thinking how they think. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to educate people, kind of show them how all lives matter is not a good statement. Of course, all lives matter. We all want everybody to be safe at the end of the day, but all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. That's our goal. Black Lives Matter. I actually had the opportunity to attend a protest over here, a Black Lives Matter protest, protesting the killing of not only George Floyd, but of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and the countless number of Black people that have been killed by the police. Injustice everywhere. I had the opportunity to do that, and it was a great thing. I do not agree with the looting and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, there has been protests. Colin Kaepernick and a bunch of NFL players took a knee during the national anthem, and people hijacked that message, trying to say that they're disrespecting the flag. We tried to protest peacefully, and apparently people didn't want to hear that. So people said, okay, if they don't want to hear our peaceful protest, then I guess we need to resort to that. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's how it was. If you saw Drew Brees, he said a comment yesterday saying that someone asked him, if NFL players took a knee this season, would you be offended? And he said, yeah, I don't agree disrespecting the flag. So it's clear some people still don't get it. It was never about the flag. It's never about the national anthem. It's never about disrespecting America. What's disrespectful to America is for police officers who are supposed to protect and serve to kill Black people for absolutely no reason. That's what's actually disrespectful to America. He said, this is what a lot of people say. Well, my grandfather fought in World War II. My parents fought for their freedom. Well, guess what? It's not just white people that fought in wars for America, for your freedom. Black people fought alongside the war. Black people were in World War II. Black people have fought in every single war this country has ever fought in. During the Revolutionary War, Black people were fighting for their freedoms of their master. They weren't fighting for their own freedom because they knew when they came back they were going to be slaves. They were fighting for their freedom of their master. In World War II, Black people would fight in a segregated military. The white people and the Black people in the military were separate. When they came back from fighting the war, for fighting for America's freedom, for fighting against people like Nazis, which people in the South will praise and whatever, they came back to America where they weren't allowed to drink out of the same water fountains as the people who were fighting alongside them. Black people, if they were seen walking around in their military uniforms, sometimes they were beaten, sometimes they were lynched, they were thrown in jail. So don't say my grandfathers fought in this war for your freedom. A lot of people fought in the war. Black people fought in every single war, and they still had to fight injustice. Your white grandfather fought in the war and came back a hero. Black people grandfathers came back from the war and had to face the same injustices that they did when they left. So yeah, that's my thought on the whole national anthem protest. It was never about the national anthem. It was never about the flag. It was about police brutality. Colin Kaepernick started a conversation. He kneeled down during the national anthem. He explained why he did it. It was to fight injustice and police brutality. He originally sat down during the national anthem and he talked to a Green Beret, person that was in the military. And Colin Kaepernick said, "I don't want to disrespect you." He said, "Well, I think it would be, I don't think it would be disrespectful if you took a knee. Don't sit down, take a knee." So Colin Kaepernick took his advice and kneeled down and started a whole protest in the NFL. No one liked it. They say that they're disrespecting the flag, which they really weren't. And now here we are, I don't know, 4 years later. I think Colin Kaepernick took a knee 2016. So 4 years later, here we are. Talking about the same stuff. But this time it's a little bit different. Everyone saw George Floyd. They saw how brutal his murder was, how he was crying out for help, crying for his mother. His mother is actually not even alive. He was crying out that he couldn't breathe. We've seen this many times. Eric Garner, he couldn't breathe. They still choked him to death. So I'm glad that this situation is finally getting the publicity, I guess, that it deserves. It's sad that it took so long for people to actually hop on board, even though Black people have been screaming about this for years and years and years, but nobody cared. Apparently, people think that either Black people are just lying or they're crazy when they talk about racism, that the racism that they face. And so also, this past Tuesday, I seen a lot of people posting Black images on their Instagram. And I felt very indifferent about these images. I liked the message, the overall message behind them, but at the same time, I didn't really like it because I felt like a lot of these people were out here posting these images just because everybody else is posting them. It's human nature to do what everybody else is doing. If there's a famous study saying if there's a bunch of people in an elevator, there's like 4 people who are in on the pyramid and 1 person who's not in the elevator. If all 4 of those people turn around and face the other way, that 1 person will also turn around and face the other way just because they want to be a part of what everyone else is doing. What I think happened with the whole blackout, Blackout Tuesday thing, people don't care about what's going on. I've seen a lot of people in the theme park community, Disney community, talking about they posted those Black pictures and they hadn't said a word before and they just put hashtag Blackout Tuesday on the picture. What is that doing besides making my Instagram feed Black? What are you doing to help Black people? It didn't make sense to me. I didn't really like it because I felt like people just want to be part of a trend and it wasn't helping move the conversation forward at all. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I hadn't said anything. I wasn't going to say anything, but I felt like I probably should say something because I am Black in America. These are things that we face every day. Things that other races don't have to face. Black and brown people face these things every day, and some people just don't see it. So if I was able to help people see the viewpoint of me, if I was able to help change a mind of a person that keeps saying all lives matter, then I've done my job. I feel like if I was able to change one person's mind, I've already changed people's minds in my personal life, on my personal social media. Hopefully I'm able to do that on my YouTube because I feel like I have a decent sized audience that watch me. And I feel like you guys are watching me, a Black person, for theme park content. And if you are not willing to support Black people to further our progression in this country and help stop the racism that still happens, then honestly, you don't need to be watching me. I don't want any racist to watch me just for theme park content, because this is how I feel. And I don't need, if you don't want to learn from me, if I can't help you in any way to see a, another viewpoint, then there's really not a reason for you to be watching me. I don't really care if I lose subscribers. It happen. It's nothing to me really. If I lose some subscribers that don't agree with me because I think that black people deserve equality. Black people never asked to be treated better than anybody else. Black people want equality. That's it. And for some people, that is so hard to give equality to black people. So those are just my thoughts. Yeah, it's still relevant today. He said, Kyle Romero. I heard that with the kneeling incident, an NFL player had to almost fight his teammate to get to the end zone to stand for the national. The team stayed back. Did the team take it far? I honestly don't know. If you know who that was, go ahead and leave it below. But like I said, I'm glad that I actually did speak with you guys, because I feel like I have a voice, especially being a black person. It's awesome to listen to white people talk about this, but sometimes you have to let the people who are being oppressed speak their minds. But of course, we need all races, white, black, Asian, Latino. We need all races to come together to help this. And no, there's not just, so a lot of people like to say, there's only one race, the human race. That is true. But unfortunately, due to hundreds of years of oppression and racism, race is a real thing today. It's not going anywhere. There's not just one race, the human race. When we look at the grand scheme of things, yes, but that is downplaying the problems that certain races have in this country. That is downplaying it, and that's not a good thing. You have to understand that there is races, because if there's not races, then you are saying that there's no such thing as racism. And of course, we all know that there's racism, right? So when a person says, I don't see color, try to educate them. If you don't see color, then that means that you don't see racism. It doesn't make sense. Have I ever heard of Jane Elliott? Name sounds familiar. I believe she is I think I saw her on YouTube. Is she an old lady? Jane Elliott sounds familiar. Yes. Yeah, I think I've heard of her. She does a lot of race studies, I believe. I think that's who I'm talking about. If that is, then she's great. She does a great job of helping white people understand, I don't think what it's like to be black, but what their white privilege is. Yes, white privilege is a real thing. White people say, well, what can I do to help this situation? I'm not black. I don't know what to do. Well, what you can do is you can use your white privilege. White privilege is a great thing that white people have. No one is saying that white privilege is not real. I'm not saying white privilege isn't real. Some people say that. But if you are white, use your white privilege to help people who don't have that privilege. And eventually one day, maybe everyone will have the same privilege. You have male privilege. I have male privilege over female privilege. Females don't have the same opportunities that men do. If you're white, you have white privilege. Amplify the voices that don't have that privilege, and hopefully we can all be on the same level one day. And so, yeah, there's a lot of videos on YouTube right now talking about Universal. Universal just opened. I was planning on making videos, but I haven't put up a video in about a week. I just felt like there's more important things right now than theme parks. Theme parks are always going to be there. There's more important things to talk about right now. But you guys can always message me if you have questions. I'm willing to help to try to educate people. I'm willing to help try people to see a different viewpoint. If you would like that, then you can message me on Instagram or Twitter at MarcusQYT. That's all I really wanted to talk about, just about the current situation, a little bit of history. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna head out of here. So thank you all for watching. If you learned something, that's great. That's awesome. I'm super happy. Hopefully we can all get better. Hopefully this country can heal, because there's a whole lot of healing that needs to be done. And it only can heal through change. It's not gonna heal just because we talk about it. It's only gonna heal through change. And I'm optimistic that that will happen, because I see a lot of change already. I've never seen this type of reaction to a police killing. And believe me, there's been tons of police killings that we have seen over the years. And this is, I feel like, the tipping point. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. So I feel optimistic about this, that there can be change. And justice for Breonna Taylor. Those cops need to be charged. They need to be convicted. If you don't know about Breonna Taylor, look it up. She was sleeping when cops busted into her house, thinking that they were at a different house looking for another person. Her husband, her boyfriend, was sleeping in the bed, thought there was an intruder in the house. He fired his weapon, and the police fired back, killing her while she slept. So justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for George Floyd, justice for everybody. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Catch you on whenever my next video upload will be. Who knows?